Hello and welcome to A Cat in the Garden. It is a perfect, beautiful day out here. I think this morning it was pretty chilly. It was 43 degrees when I woke up and now it's around 70. So it's just been a perfect spring day and spring is here in full force. This is the kitties' second time outside today. They're very spoiled and very, very happy. But I figured it was such a nice day that we could just do the March garden tour today. So that's what we're doing. There's so much going on in the garden. There are so many new things popping up and sprouting and everything is green and full of life and it just makes me very happy. It just cures all of the seasonal depression. It's gone, it's out the window, and it's just so nice to be out here. I want to be out here every second of the day, honestly, but we'll go through the garden and everything that's happening. Hi, Saffron. That's what Nutmeg's watching. She just ran over, and hopefully you'll see the kitties throughout the video. But either way, we'll just get through with the garden tour. Over here where Saffron has been sniffing around is my little row of fruit trees. And unfortunately, the freeze did kill off a lot of the blooms, so I don't think it's going to be the best peach year. But I do have... it'll focus. I do have some peaches. So this one actually has been blooming a little bit later and there are new blooms on the way here, which is great. So maybe I will have more blooms on this peach tree. This one, unfortunately, a lot of the blooms died during that freeze. I am struggling to find a peach. Okay, here's one right there. And then there are also some flowers there. So there's something. It's just a little disappointing that I wasn't able to save all of those blooms. And then this plum tree, which we were told was self-pollinating, is not. So it just didn't really give me much in the way of blooms. And then really there's nothing. So I don't think I'm ever gonna get a plum here. The bay leaf tree unfortunately took a hit during that last freeze, so it doesn't look its best, but there is new growth coming up from some of the branches, so hopefully we'll have a little bit of a recovery this year for this tree. Moving on to the raised beds. In this one I decided, because I don't really know what I'm going to put in it later, I'm starting out with some bush beans. They do really well before it gets 90 plus degrees every day. So they've all sprouted. I planted them a little while ago, but they have all sprouted now. Some sprouted earlier than others. This one was first, so it looks really big and beautiful. I have 8 of them in here because this cilantro plant is blocking a space. Oh gosh, there's ants on there. Okay, we're gonna not just touch the inside of the plant if we can't see what's going on. But that's okay. I think there might be a few aphids on it, but that's what happens when you have spring weather. So I have cilantro there. That was actually a volunteer. And then my thyme over here. These plants are actually doing really well given that it's been pretty warm lately. This is my new kale and Swiss chard setup, and the chard looks really good. I want to eat this actually. Maybe this weekend I will eat some of it. So that's been doing really well. The kale has been doing well, virtually pest free so far, which surprises me given pests on some other crops that I have. And then a little dill plant there. I have planted some peppers in this pepper bed, but I also wanted to highlight my blue salvia is exploding. My chives are exploding. My leeks are doing really well. I have a few rows of them growing, and then I planted some peppers. The leaves are not doing very well, but hopefully they will recover. And I have a few little seedlings that I planted. Also, they are doing just fine. And this leek is very much ready to harvest, honestly. Next to it, this transplant is doing so much better than the other overwintered peppers. The new leaves are great, maybe because it's so much older. This is its 3rd year. And I did plant fewer cayennes in here last year. I think it's the move considering how big this one gets, and hopefully they'll all do well. And I have the onions that I started recently. They're growing, they're doing very well. In this bed, I have my peas. I cannot wait for them to flower. They're growing so much quicker now that it's warmer out. I think all of the ones that are gonna sprout have sprouted. I'm not going to plant anymore because I've already wasted so many pea seeds this year, and I think by the time new ones that I would plant would be ready, it would be too hot. So hopefully we'll get some flowers soon. We'll get some peas before the really, really hot weather comes. I do have some kohlrabi and some collards in here. Unfortunately, a lot of the collards have already started to bolt, and they're full of these ugly little bugs. If you know what these are, let me know in the comments, but I hate them. They're so ugly and they're everywhere. So not the best collard harvest this year, but we have been harvesting quite a bit of kohlrabi. In the next bed, I have my beets that I'm growing for the greens, of course. And then I have scallions that are doing really well, except Nutmeg is sitting on them. Excuse you. Thank you. No, you're sitting on my scallions, buddy. I know you're trying to get birds. He's usually really good about not sitting on my plants, but they are still kind of small, so he does sit on the small ones. But these are growing well here. Got a row of them there, so that is going along as planned. If you would stop sitting on my plants, sir. Thank you very much. Please be mindful of them. Okay, moving on from Nutmeg. I have my really chaotic winter bed that will transition over into something else, but for now I have to pull up most of the things in here. These radishes are ready. The baby bok choy is almost ready. It's so cute. I love when it's that size. It's just perfect and squishable. The celery is doing great. It's getting a lot bigger, so I am happy with that. And I did plant some cucumbers along with onions in here. They haven't sprouted yet, but hopefully we will get some sprouts soon because I want to get those going before it gets too hot. Next to that bed, I have more peas. These are shelling peas, and some of them are already flowering. Some of them are little seedlings still, but it's pretty exciting that I have a lot of pea flowers on these, and they are some of the most beautiful flowers out of any plant that I grow. So I'm always just really happy to see those. Oh, look, there's a pea. Look at that. Oh, that's very exciting. Okay, I could eat that if I really wanted to. And then I did plant some soybeans for edamame. So they have started popping up. There's a couple underneath this fennel plant. So I have that. I have a bunch of volunteer fennel in here. There's another soybean. I have a few more over here. So they're coming up in stages, different sizes, all those sorts of things. There will be more in the middle popping up soon also. Just hasn't happened yet. And there's not much to report with the herb beds. They're just kind of growing back after the freeze. So hopefully they will do better this year. And the blackberry is growing really well. There's lots of leaves growing on that. I'm very excited to see my first flower. I keep watching every single day just to see if I'll get a flower on it. And then back here, the strawberries are surviving. I think putting them back here with the asparagus will turn out really, really well. I'm very excited to see if they'll just live through a summer. I think once the asparagus get bigger, they'll provide some really good shade as well. I have a little volunteer cilantro back there. And then I have been, as you can tell, really chopping back at my asparagus this year because they are so yummy. I wish I'd planted more, honestly. But I have one coming up here, two back there, and one over there. So lots of asparagus, just doing really, really well this spring. Next to the asparagus, I actually do have a couple of exciting things to report. So this is probably gonna be the best way to show it off. But I have an artichoke, my first one growing here. Yes, I see there's ants on it. I really don't know how to get the ants off of my artichokes. I have tried for years, and they just love artichokes. So I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to eat that artichoke, but I'm gonna try at least, because this is my first one in 3 years. But also, my lemongrass is back from the dead. There's new growth. It survived the freeze after dying back mostly. It's coming back, so I won't have to buy a lemongrass plant this year, which is huge because they are kind of pricey. I mean, you definitely get your money's worth, but typically I've had to pay $5 to $6 for one plant, which is a lot more than other veggies and herbs and whatnot. So I'm very happy that that has come back from the dead. And then I do have my little pepper bed here. The transplants are doing well, except for the 2 that came from inside. They're not doing their best, unfortunately. And then I also have a lot of volunteer plants, and I don't know what to do with them because I don't know what they are exactly. This, I think, might be watermelon. And if it is, then it came from my watermelons that I composted at the end of the season. And that'd be awesome if this was watermelon, because then I wouldn't have to plant any watermelon seeds this year. There's a lot of them. So that would be really, really cool. And then these, I think, are actually peppers. The only problem is I don't know what kind, because my husband and I eat so many peppers. It could be ones I grew, it could be ones I didn't grow. Who knows? But they are definitely peppers. I do recognize the shape of the leaves and the seedlings here, so I will keep an eye on them, and I will pull all of these up when the time is right. It's just hard right now because these are so small to tell what they are, but we should be able to tell soon. They're either a watermelon or a squash. So either way, it's something that I could use in the garden, and I don't mind having a, transplant, volunteer, whatever you want to call it. I don't mind. So we'll keep an eye on that. These are gonna go. The next garden tour, they will be gone. These kale, because they're too big, too unruly. They're not popped up yet, but I did plant 8 or 9 eggplants in here, seeds. So hopefully they will be up and growing by the next garden tour. I have cabbages over here. They're growing. They're starting to get to a decent size. Feeling a little firmer. This one's more cone shaped. I don't really know why, but they look really cool. I think they like being back here because this is the shadiest, coolest place of the garden. And hopefully we'll have every week or so a cooler day to just help keep the temperatures down for these cabbages. I did transplant the one I started inside, but I really don't expect anything to come of that. This bed is empty for now, but there are little volunteer plants popping up because my husband put not broken down compost in here. So we'll see what those end up being. I think either April or May, the garlic is gonna come up, and it's getting to the point where I think it might be ready soon. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I will be planting sweet potatoes in this bed. I did plant the bean seeds in here. I don't even know, was that a week ago now? So I am looking any day for them to start popping up in this bed as well. And then we have, of course, the giant rosemary that my husband hates, and some rows of garlic and onions that I didn't know what to do with. Though the onions, oh, here they are. I was like, are they dead? No. But this garlic clearly did not do as well because it was shaded out by this rosemary. It's totally fine. I just didn't have anywhere to put my leftover garlic. So it'll still be edible. It just won't be as nice as the garlic over there. Before we go, I want to just show off my beautiful blueberry that has been flowering. I don't know if it's going to actually give me blueberries. Are they not self-pollinating? That's going to be tragic if they're not, because then I will never get blueberries from this plant. It's been flowering so much, but I never even thought that maybe they're not self-pollinating. I don't have a single blueberry growing on the plant, or maybe it flowered too soon because the bees weren't out until today. I saw my first honeybee, so I don't know what's going on with that one, but the flowers are really pretty at least. And then I do have a few seedlings in here. I've got some tomatoes, which I'm not quite ready to plant yet. I will up pot them soon to keep them growing and bury the stem a bit. And then I have a few leeks that I'm waiting because I don't have room for them at the moment either. Hello. How are you? Oh, that was very cute. Are you enjoying this nice day? Yeah, it's a very nice day. You're a good girl. You're a good girl, Safi. Oh, okay. There you go. Bye. So that's it for our March garden tour. There are so many things that I'm looking forward to in this year's garden. I'm just excited overall about everything. It feels like the perfect spring weather-wise. It hasn't been too hot, it hasn't been too cold, and we've had a balance if it does get really hot for a day or two where it does cool down. So it has just felt like a true spring, which I'm really, really enjoying, and I hope this keeps up for a month or two at least. I know that's asking a lot when you live in Texas, but I really hope it does, because then I'll have more of those northern summer crops that don't do well with the heat here. I'll have more of them this year. So that would be really, really ideal. But I'm just trying to plan for all situations. So I'm planting the summer crops, the heat tolerant beans, but I'm also planting things that like cooler weather, like the bush beans and my peas and cucumbers, things like that. And then I have my peppers, which will struggle with the heat, but they will survive throughout the whole summer. So I'm just trying to be prepared for any situation, because you truly do not know what the weather in Texas will be like. But thank you so much for coming along with us today. If you like this video, make sure to give Nutmeg and I here a thumbs up down below and subscribe so you don't miss anything from us here on the channel. Thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.